You are now listening to Playbook Radio. Here is your host, Martin Williams.
And welcome to Playbook Radio. My name is Martin Williams. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. You may do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. All the links to the podcast can be found at gameplanplaybook.com. That's gameplanplaybook.com. So today what I wanted to talk to you about is another playbook principle. And most of my upcoming podcasts will deal with one of the principles. So today's podcast has to do with the faith principle, playbook principle number 6, right? The importance of faith. And specifically today, what I wanted to talk to you about is faith works by love. Now, for those of you that have gone to church or are familiar with the Bible, you're familiar with that particular verse in the Bible that faith works by love, right? And I think it's important that people understand that, because a lot of times I think people try to take their emotions out of it. And certainly there's a time to do that, especially when you're executing. You want to take your emotions out of it. But in your mindset, in the mindset part of the playbook, which is the first part of 4 parts, it's important that your love component is active, and really more to the point, you don't want to be in a position where your faith is inactive or ineffective, right? What are the 3 ways that your faith can be ineffective when it pertains to love? Well, the first way is by having some sort of bitterness or some sort of grudge with other people, right? And, there may be times when people, they may upset you by, cutting you off on the freeway, or, something that a stranger does, right? But it may be something even more, even deeper than that. It may be something that, someone that you love has done to you, right? Maybe something that a partner or a spouse has done, something that you haven't let go, unforgiveness, right? It may be, a situation where someone owes you money and they haven't paid you back, or maybe a situation where someone, betrayed you in some way, right? And I've been on both sides of that. And what I'm learning is that, if you don't resolve that, at least within yourself, and, preferably with the other person or whoever you have an issue with, it can water down your faith. You can get to the point where you don't have enough faith to do much of anything. Okay. And to do things that you haven't done before, you have to have faith. Okay. And I'm working with people, working with myself, working with people who want to do things that they haven't done before. They want to scale heights that they haven't scaled before. They want to achieve things that they haven't achieved before. And in order to do that, you have to have faith. But it's hard to have the maximum amount of faith that you need when you're having these grudges with people. Okay. So it's important just to let it go. And sometimes it may just be letting it go for now and deciding that, I'm not going to deal with this right now. I'm just going to let it go, and I'll talk with that person when it's the right time, but I'm not going to let it affect me. Maybe the issue isn't resolved, but I'm not going to let it affect me. I'm not going to let it stop me from doing what it is that I need to do, right? And sometimes it's not even about resolving the situation, because sometimes people that you're waiting on to apologize, they're not going to apologize. They're not going to say sorry. They're not going to apologize to you. They're not going to come to you and make it right a lot of times, especially if it's been this long, okay? But sometimes you just got to say, you know what? Whether or not they apologize, I'm letting it go. I'm moving on, because it's hurting me. It's holding me back. Okay. So that's a part of, maximizing the amount of faith you need to accomplish this thing. You're trying to get out of debt. You're trying to heal yourself. You're trying to, get a job that you've never gotten before. You can't be holding grudges. You can't afford a grudge. You can't afford to have hate for people. Okay. A lot of people are stuck where they are because they're holding grudges. They're hating people. They have an issue with people that they refuse to let go. And you're not going to get to where you need to get to as long as you hold on to that stuff. So at some point in time, you gotta let that stuff go. And you gotta decide, you know what? It's not worth me missing my destiny to continue to be upset with you and continue to be mad with you. Right? So that's one way that we allow our faith to be watered down. The second way that we allow our faith to be watered down is if we're chasing after things that we don't have any love for. Okay. I remember when I met my wife, she said that she wanted to go to a certain university, right? And I said, why do you want to go to this university so bad? And she said, when she was a kid, she had this she had driven by the university and she just fell in love with it, right? And there's people who, maybe they hit their dream house. Like once they saw their dream house, they fell in love with it, or the dream car and they fell in love with it. And what happened was that love became a basis of her faith because she wanted to go there and, you know, basically get a degree from there. And she ended up getting a degree. She ended up getting a master's degree. And so there was that love component there. And, there may be a component where, you're doing something and that you may not have like a love for it, right? And it's not that you can't do it, but if you're going to do something above and beyond what you've done up to this point, there's a love component there, right? It's often said that the most successful people are doing what they love to do. They have a love for what they do. Either they love what they do or they love who they're doing it for. And optimally, it's both, right? Having a love for people and then having a love for what it is that you do. Far too often, though, people don't have a love for either. They hate their customers, they hate their clients, and they hate what they do. So they don't have any juice behind what they do. They don't have there's no special, right? It's just a job to them. And one of the things that I, teach in my course, not the playbook course, but the game plan course, when it comes to work and business, is that you want to find your work, okay? Your true work, what you're here to do. And part of your true work, or I should say, a clue of what your true work is something that you love to do, right? It's something that you would do for free. If you would do it for free, then that's a sign that you're in your true work. Most people are not in their true work. Most people are not doing what they truly want to do. They're doing what they have to do to pay the bills. And I'm in no way am I judging because I've been in that situation for years. But we have to be courageous enough to start moving towards our true work. We have to be courageous enough to start moving towards that which we are truly here to do. And like I said, the clue is that, you love to do it, you would do it for free. And that's a love thing. You know what I mean? Like that love boosts your faith, right? And it makes your faith work, right? And faith is that thing that you need, which will push you towards actually taking that first step. How many times have you felt like, well, I can't sell or I can't approach people, because I'm not a seller, I'm not good at sales or I'm not good at marketing or I'm not good at talking or I'm not good at any of that. I understand all that, right? I used to hate getting on camera. I used to hate talking to people. I used to hate public speaking. They made me take public speaking in school and I hated it, man. Like I was having probably, looking back on it, I was probably having like a mini panic attack, speaking in front of the class because I'm thinking, they're looking at me like, who is this goofball? this big goofball, talking to us and all this stuff, right? So, for the longest time, I didn't want to do that. But, I realized that it's not about almost always loving what you do, but really it's about loving who you're doing it for, loving the mission, right? My mission is to find people and to help people that, that want more out of life and want to do more, for themselves, for their family, for their community. So the mission is bigger than my discomfort. My mission is bigger than my personal preference, right? Because I wouldn't have chosen this for myself. I would have much rather just made money and disappear, right? So, to be visible, to be in front of a camera is not natural for me. I don't like it, but I'm learning to embrace it. I'm learning to be more comfortable because the mission is bigger than my comfort. So what you have to understand is that in your life, right, to do things that are bigger than you or seem bigger than you, to do things that are beyond what you thought you could do, you got to have a level of faith. You have to have enough faith to take the necessary steps to make it happen. And all that is in your mind. All that is in your mind. All that is a mindset. Faith is a mindset. And for a lot of people, they think, well, I love God, and I go to church and I believe God can, but do you believe you can? Okay. It's one thing to believe God can, but do you believe you can? Because God will give you the power to do it. But what does that take? It takes faith, right? And faith works by love, right? So I said at the outset, you can't have grudges. You got to let those grudges go. You got to let those, you have to let that, the things that you don't love to do go, right? And you got to develop a love for something in relation to what it is that you do. So, if you're trying to do something, let's say you're trying to get a grant for a nonprofit. Okay. What's the love component there? Okay. It's either you love the mission, you love the people that the grant is supposed to help, or you love the work of getting the grant and doing whatever the grant will fund. It's got to be one of those three things, because if it isn't, then you're not going to have enough faith to get the grant. Does that make sense? There's got to be a love component. It's almost like the secret sauce or the secret spice, right? There's certain things you cook that if you leave it out, it doesn't taste the same. Okay. I'm not a chef. I just love food. So, I don't know all the different ingredients or whatever, but, there's certain things, maybe like with fried chicken, if you leave out the paprika or you leave out the seasoned salt or whatever, then it's not going to taste the same, right? If you leave out, garlic powder in certain recipes, it's not going to taste the same, right? Love is the same way. Your faith is not going to be the same if you leave it out. Okay. So really think about when you're going after your goal, what is the love component? What is the thing that I love about this whole process that I'm going through? Am I doing it for myself, right? Or am I doing it out of love for the work, or out of love for the mission, or out of love for the thing that I'm going after, right? And when you decide that, or you recognize that, then your faith will skyrocket. So that is all that I had for today. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Martin Williams. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to Playbook Radio. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this podcast with family and friends. And if you're ready to take the next step in your personal development journey, consider trying mental recoding by Playbook Strategies. These short audios are designed to help you reprogram your thoughts around different life subjects, such as finances, health, work, relationships, and much more. Click the link below to explore mental recoding products to help reshape your mind.